Kia ora, good morning. I've been up since just after 1. I was having the best sleep of my life, having the best dreams, and I got woken up and I was going to go back to sleep, as you know, but I couldn't, and I always know that when I get woken up, there's a reason for it, and I just have to sit and wait for that reason to be made evident, and it's just been made evident. So, a video of a conference that Palantir beast system company were having, where the CEO confessed that, sometimes we have to do things to scare and kill the enemy. And knowing what Labor have done with Palantir and stuff like that, I thought I'm just going to do some investigating. And it turns out Palantir, who they have the contracts with, are the very companies and people and associations and organisations that the Queen said were involved in her murder. From the NHS to the military to the Secret Service to the Tories to Labour to Israel and the BBC, I kid you not. I've just said to the King, Palantir have just confessed to being complicit in the murder of the Queen. They considered the royal family the enemy because they can't pull off what they're desperately wanting to pull off while the monarchy's still in place. Bearing in mind what the military, the Ministry of Defence and all that, what they've been planning this whole time in Greenland, and who has the defence contract, who's been set up in Greenland ready to go for all of this to happen. They've been in league with Israel and Donald Trump and that. Their company was worth 2000 in 2015 was worth 20 billion. They're worth a lot more than that now. 2015, Donald Trump was president. Remember 2016, he was planning the whole Greenland thing. All of the tech giants and oligarchs and AI beast system people were already set up in Greenland ready to go, which means that Palantir and all that were all part of the system to bring the monarchy down, and the role they played in COVID and getting the vaccines and pushing the vaccines and controlling the NHS during COVID-19 and the lockdowns is huge. And that moron has just been caught on video confessing that they killed people they consider the enemy, which means they've confessed that the Tories and Labour and all the people that they have in their pockets consider the monarchy the enemy. They've got an office in London in the same place where my king sits on his throne, and they consider him the enemy. They consider the king, our king, the enemy. They considered the Queen the enemy. Queen Elizabeth and those codes were absolutely 100% spot on. She named them all. Every single one of them, she said. She named them all, who was responsible, from Bill Gates to the AI techs to the BBC to the NHS to her own military, her own government and her Secret Service. James Bond was in on the plot to kill the Queen. And now they're trying to kill the King because they consider him the enemy. I've just put evidence in the description box. I can't, between the video I made last night and this one, it's like I'm getting angrier and angrier and angrier at how little regard the King's own people and friends and business partners have for his safety and the safety of his family and the British Empire. He's basically admitted that his interests are for that of America, the CIA. They are the new CIA, Hillary Clinton and all that. They are all on the Epstein list. They are friends of Mendelssohn and all that. They're all in on it. The Queen was absolutely 100% flip, flap, flopping right about everything. And people laughed at me. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, lock her up. Kill her. Well, I mean, he admitted they kill the enemy. And trust me when I say I'm Labour's and the CIA's and Trump's and all of their number one enemy. Because I'm not scared of them. And I don't care what they threaten me with. They will never have the backing of God behind them to pull off the sort of things that they want to pull off. And he's just confessed to killing our Queen because they consider the royal family the enemy because they can't get away with the things that they want to get away with while the monarchy rule the empire. The king needs to make that phone call and he needs to get Parliament shut down. There needs to be a massive investigation into the Ministry of Defence, the Secret Service, MI5, MI6. There needs to be a massive, thorough investigation. Parliament needs to be shut down. Keir Starmer, Tony Blair, Boris Johnson, a lot of them need to be arrested. The Queen was right about everything. She was right about everything, and I'm not laughing because it's like, oh, she was right about everything. I'm laughing because it's like, holy shit. Like, you can't make what I've uncovered up in a friggin' movie. This goes beyond anything James Bond would ever be in. Turns out, James Bond is the enemy of the Queen. This whole time, James Bond has been a lie. It's all been a lie, and that he went and opened his fat trap because they can't keep their mouths shut. The devil has to present themselves in the presence of God. Even devils and demons can't lie in the presence of God, and so they feel the need to talk. It all comes out. It all comes out. Our government knowingly gave contracts to people with the sole purpose of killing the Queen, taking the King down, and abolishing the monarchy so that they could have control over Great Britain. And this whole thing with Greenland has been planned since they started coming into power and taking over from the CIA. And Boris Johnson and Theresa May and David Cameron, who were the prime ministers at the time when Trump was president, Boris Johnson, Sunak, and Keir Starmer, Pinocchio, have been in on it this whole time. Our Queen couldn't trust anyone, and she found out when she died, and that's why she came to me. She knew she could trust me. She knows that I'm the sort of person that when I see an injustice, I man up, I power up. The mere fact of witnessing the injustice is so offensive to me that I become like, I transform into this impenetrable force, and I don't stop until I see justice, and I'm not going to stop until I get justice for the Queen. She's demanding justice. She wants justice. She came out and she told me everything, and I had to risk it all. My life, my freedom, my children. I'm crying because I'm angry. They took it upon themselves to kill our Queen. so that they could have control over what dirt and soil that they're going to become when they all die. None of them are going to be immortal. You might be able to stop yourself from aging and slow down the aging process, but you can't stop plane crashes and train crashes and accidents and murders and things like that. So you can think that you're going to be able to live forever and look young and stuff like that, but God is always going to find a way to take your soul. And I'm just angry because it's like no one is protecting the king. No one's protecting the royal family. He doesn't have the police on his side. They own the police. They own the military. They own the secret service. They own the government. They've got them all in their pocket. Because they're all connected to Epstein, they have things on them to use, to blackmail them, to make sure that they don't have a choice but to do things their way. That's how they do it. They use blackmail. That's how they got the Queen in the first place. That's how they lured them into the whole Epstein thing. It's all done under the cover of friendship and socialising and business, and then they bring the traps in, like Virginia and Ghislaine and all that. They bring in the honey traps and then gather the evidence so that when they start the conspiracy theory, when they start dropping the whole Epstein thing, they drop the names like they did with Prince Andrew. It was all done by design. They used the fact that he likes sex. I'm not. The thing is, he's only been connected to the ones that we know were sent as honey traps for blackmail and for, to groom. They groomed other girls in that. They've only thrown Andrew under the bus because he's from the bloodline that's important to take down. Everyone else in Andrew and the royal family's life were all actors, all placed as strategic chess pieces, so that when they were ready to drop the scandal, which is why they faked Epstein's death, because everyone knows now he's hiding out in Israel. Everyone knows it was faked. We'll get Trump in, and then he, like there's talk of giving Ghislaine a pardon. She's been taken from a maximum to a minimum. She's got all sorts of freedoms and that because they're getting ready to let her go because it was all part of the plan. We'll put you in prison for a bit, but then you'll get out and blah, blah, blah. And, because her father, Maxwell, and owning all the newspapers, it was all an elaborate scheme to make sure that the people hated the monarchy so much that then when they were ready to pull the plug on Charles, people would be happy to see the back of him, and he's completely innocent. There are some people on that list that were genuinely there for business purposes. People like Princess Diana, and when they saw the truth, they started backing away. As soon as she saw what was going on, she started backing away. And then they killed her and blamed Charles, blamed the royal family, said they ordered the hit on her. And they've been getting blamed for everything ever since because it was all done on purpose. And now he's just admitted that him and his people, i.e. the CIA, and because they're basically calling them the new CIA, he's just admitted that they have to kill the enemy sometimes. Scare the enemy, kill the enemy. Because they keep trying to threaten me. Everything they've done to me, they keep, scare tactics and that. But I don't listen to anything anyone says because nobody has control over my mind or my emotions or anything like that. I know that anything that happens in my life is part of the process. It's what God needs me to go through because it makes me stronger. It enhances my investigation skills. It powers me up. They're part of my training. They're brought in to be part of my training. They're like my sparring partners. Keir Starmer is a sparring partner. Elon Musk has been a sparring partner. Donald Trump has been a sparring partner. My ex-husband, sparring partners. All brought in to help me master specific skills. And I said last night, have you ever been so angry you're calm? Like you have to be calm. Now I'm so angry, I'm crying. Have you been so angry that you cry? Because it's like, holy shit, I was right about everything. The second the Queen came to me, the second Princess Diana came to me, and the Queen came in the algorithm, I had to put everything on the line. My freedom, my life, my health, my finances, my safety, my immigration status, my friendships, my relationships, my everything. I've had to put it all on the line because Queen Elizabeth came to me and said, can you please help me get justice? They're trying to hurt my babies. They killed me and they're trying to hurt my babies. They're trying to tear my empire down. You're the only one that can help. Because I was the only one brave enough to do it. Can you imagine anybody else in my situation taking that leap of faith and just putting it all out there, knowing that that they're being watched by the most powerful evil people in the world, hoping and praying the king doesn't wake up? They've used enough technology, they've used enough of their tech on him to blind his vision, like they did with Vladdy and all that, you know. I'm using mind control, using enough of their technology to make people see me in a different way, because they know that when the truth gets out, they know that when the king does wake up, it's all over. All he's got to do is make one phone call, and that's Palantir gone. That's all of them gone. That's people finally being held responsible. That's everyone in Parliament gone. They'll all be removed because the contracts will be gone, because everything will get torn down. They'll have to leave the country. They'll lose their contracts, because their contracts are with the current government, not with the next ones. I'm telling you. Oh, I'm telling you now, man. If it wasn't for my stomach in that, and the fact that I just want to get out of here and build my school, they say that nobody gets to be Prime Minister or President without the elites. But I think that I'd have enough backing of the people behind me to be the example, not the rule. But if I was in charge, you can guarantee I would have everyone in the Defence Department, the Ministry of Defence, everyone in Parliament. I'd have everyone, the police, the NHS, I would have them all under investigation. And if I caught, as soon as I was able to connect all the dots and who was responsible for what happened to the Queen and what's now happening to the King, I would be having every single one of them rounded up, put on trial, and executed. Doctors, nurses, all of them, cops, soldiers, the whole lot. The second I got wind of any of them knowing what they were doing, knowing that there were kids on that Bella One, knowing I'd have them all rounded up and executed, because they all conspired to murder the Queen. This isn't just about them committing mass genocide to, kill off a lot of people through those vaccines. They murdered a sitting, reigning monarch so they could have access to her sons, to use them as the bait to destroy the monarchy and take control of Great Britain and the Commonwealth. And he's just admitted it on video. I don't care if this costs me my life. I have nothing anyway. As long as my boys get my dad's military medals and insignia and dog tags and my mum's ring, whatever. But I know I die of old age, so I'm not worried. But no person with a moral conscience can hold on to this kind of information and not say something. I have to wake the king up. I have to save the king. This has to end now before it's too late. Because I am convinced the reason why he got cancer is because of those vaccines. Or something they gave him, the fake meat. There's a lot of stuff that he's had that could have given him that cancer. It's not very often members of the royal family die of things like cancer. And the fact that the king, the queen, because Boris Johnson said she had some kind of bowel cancer, fast acting bowel cancer, like with Bob Marley. Remember, he was killed by the CIA. Same with James Herbert, because he was speaking out about the trafficking, and he wrote about it in the others. I've told you, he was speaking out about stuff. And then Catherine got the vaccine. She had that cancer scare. Even Vladdy had it. Even Vladdy had the cancer. Oh, there has to be someone out there on the king's side, close to him, who can help me wake him up. Someone has to do something. He's surrounded by jackals and hyenas and sharks. And they're attacking him and they're targeting him. And I don't know if he's woken up yet. I keep praying and praying and praying. And more stuff is coming out that I'm posting and showing him. And the ICC that is proving I was right about everything. I've been right about everything. The Queen was right about everything. While people sat and laughed and pointed and said I was nuts and get her out of the country and all that kind of crap, it turns out I was right about everything. And the king can't trust his government, he can't trust his police force, he can't trust the NHS, he can't trust his military, he can't trust his parliament, he can't even trust his own lords. Mandelson, Blair, Ardern is a dame, Ali, Sadiq Khan, all lords. And they're all in on it. Palantir's involvement included everyone that the Queen said was in on it. The BBC, Labour, Conservative, all of them. Like, she nailed it. She nailed it, man. And I had to put stuff out there at great risk. But I'm telling you now, as God is my witness, hand on my heart, hand on my Bible, the king's going to wake up, and when he does, Starmer's in trouble. And everybody that helped him is going to scatter in order to avoid being rounded up by those military trucks. Because whoever he puts in charge, the Plompty Floop or the Fluloof or whatever it is, they're going to hold everybody responsible going all the way back to Tony Blair. And I'll tell you one thing, what I would do, and I've already said to the king, like when he wakes up and he figures it all out, the first thing he needs to do is shut his borders down and not let any of these people leave the country. Not a single person connected to the government or NHS in any kind of way. They'd be put on lockdown. They wouldn't be allowed to leave the country. And if they came back into the country, their families wouldn't be allowed to leave the country either if they're out of the country. They'd all be put on lockdown, and the second they came back into the country or tried to leave, they'd be arrested. I'd have military standing at Border Patrol because they'll try and flee, they'll try and leave the country. Oh, we'll flee to Spain, we'll flee to Israel, we'll flee to here until the heat dies down. It would never die down because they'd be on a permanent watch list. I'd shut down all their money so they had no access to any of their money. Like I'd come down with the hammer of Thor on them like you wouldn't believe. Because I cannot stand injustice, and I didn't care about the royal family until all this happened, until I saw what Starmer was starting to do, until everything that the Queen had been telling me in those codes was starting to appear to be true. Somebody has to do something. Somebody has to do something. I don't have enough power to be able to take control of it, but there has to be someone around him that can say to him, Your Majesty, I think you need to sit up and listen to this now because she's saying stuff that she's telling the truth. And if you don't do something about this, you're in deep trouble. There has to be someone around him that knows I'm telling the truth and that can get to him and wake him up. Because I don't know the people that control his social media. I don't know what they're telling him. I don't know what they're showing him. I don't know if he knows any of it. If not, then the people that run his social media aren't on his side either. Because you can't look at the stuff that I've been posting, linking him in it, and ignore it anymore. When I first started, I understand that people would have been like, what the hell is she on about? Oh, well, she was put in a loony bin, because you have to understand that's why they got me locked up, because they needed to be able to tarnish my reputation just in case I started putting stuff out there. They could turn around and say, don't listen to her, she was nuts. They put her in a loony bin. But I was never diagnosed with anything other than severe PTSD. That's the only thing I ended up being diagnosed with, because they keep saying, we don't even know why she's in here. She doesn't even deserve to be in here. She doesn't belong in here. I had nurses in that petitioning in my corner. Get her off the medication. Like, there's nothing wrong with her. She's a good person. Even the cops that lied on that form, it's on video. I just want it on record. I just want you to know I think you're a really good mum. And then she turned around and lied on her official police report, which means they got to her. Just say this, just say that. They locked me up for running around with knives with zero proof or evidence that I had knives. They took my ex-husband's phone call for someone who was supposed to be in a manic, depressed, distressed state. When they turned up, I was folding, washing, listening to music, I believe. I'd just done housework and I was waiting for my boys to wake up so that I could get them breakfast. And they decided that whole thing there, because when I started talking about what I did for a job and that, what the hell's she talking about? Lock her up, get her assessed, blah, blah, blah. Then all the police reports started coming in. Oh, she lied about, Chris is saying he's not seen anyone. Well, it turns out he wasn't only just seeing someone, he was seeing 3 women at once. Jodie, Katie and San, all of which then admitted to having those relationships. And when I told the police, look, here's the evidence he lied, they completely ignored it. When I showed them, here's the sample of the weed that'll have the drugs in it, nothing. Because they were all in on it. Because it was like, if we make her look bad, if we don't give her help, if she starts speaking out, no one's going to believe her. But it's not stopped me. Because I have a strong moral fibre. I have strong ethics. I have integrity and honour. and I believe in justice. And if I have to get the justice myself, because I couldn't get it from the justice system or the legal system, I'll do it myself. I'll get the justice myself, which is why I had to do my own investigation. And then it turns out it was me having to do my investigation that led me right to me making this video and letting people know that I was right when I found out about the plot to kill the Queen. And now Palantir have just admitted that's exactly what they do. That's what they did. They were huge in the whole COVID-19 thing. They were huge in the whole getting their fingers in the NHS and controlling the vaccines. And the Queen and Prince Philip died within 2 years of each other, within like a year and a half of getting the COVID vaccines. I've got the videos where she's talking about having the vaccines. She trusted them. She trusted these people. That's what she said. I trusted these people. And they've put my whole empire under threat. And she said, this isn't just about me, and it's not about my empire. It's about saving saving the other victims. She said, I'm not responsible for other countries, but I'm responsible for the Commonwealth. And they discarded us like trash. And she didn't know then, but she knew after she died. When she died, she got to see everything. If she was as evil and as bad as what they've been making out, the conspiracy theorists and Q and all that, she would not have access to me. We would not be talking. She obviously did enough good in the world that she was allowed to cross over into the afterlife. She'll be paying off karmic debt, but she was allowed to cross over because I know how this works. And she wouldn't be defying the laws of physics, and I wouldn't be risking everything to save King Charles and her family if they were as bad as what people say they are. God wouldn't be going hell for leather in order to protect the monarchy if the king was a bad person. Prince Andrew thinks with his genitals he was called Randy Andy. And the thing is, people going on about, oh, he brings prostitutes into Buckingham. I mean, he's a single man. He doesn't have to answer to anyone. He's not married. If there are plenty of people in the world that engage with prostitution, okay, it's not moral, but he's a grown man. You know, it's mutual. It's a mutual business transaction where they're both agreed they know what they're in for when they meet. He doesn't have to answer to anyone for that. Why is his sex life anyone's business? And the whole thing with Epstein, okay, yeah, but he's paid the price for that. But why is it only him paying the price for it? Why is everybody pointing all the arrows and guns and cannons and that at him and the royal family and nobody else, when there were far worse offenders, like Donald Trump, for example? Why is everybody else allowed to get away with it? Elon Musk is building tunnels for them to get these kids in and out of. There are people on that list that have done far worse than Prince Andrew, because with Virginia, she knew what she was doing. She could have walked away from it at any time, but she chose to make money getting more girls in, like Naomi Campbell and that. I can't believe he's just said that. It's like, well, I saw it. I had, you do a double take, like, wait, what did I just read? And I thought, I need to investigate this, and I looked up Palantir COVID 2020, and there it was. I get emotional because They're literally tearing Buckingham Palace down around the king, and I don't even know if he's aware of it or not. And I've got America's on fire, people are protesting because of the whole ICE deportation thing and what happened to that woman, that good lady, and nobody even realises that that's pretty much what they're doing here as well. Britain and America are mimicking each other because they're both in on it. From the whole Greenland thing to the taking down of the monarchy to what they did with the Bella One, they're mimicking each other. Stam is the V for Vendetta part of my cleansing prophecy. And America, Trump, is the LA riots. But that's the only way I could describe what I was seeing in the 90s. 91, 92. I think it was 91, early 92. My sister died in 91. She died in the May of 91, and it was a few months after that that we moved. So I was either 18, just turned 19, or I was 19. So it was 91, 92. I didn't know how else to describe it. I just know that we'd had the LA riots with the Dennis Rodman thing. When I was brave enough to start, I was started seeing everything in 91, 92, and then it was later on, further down the line, I was talking to my first husband Paul about it because I'd had a dream. We were sleeping in the living room of my parents' house. We'd come down from Tauranga, and I'd had a dream. It was the start of all of it, and I was absolutely panicking. I was crying, and I was like, I can see this and I can see that, and blah 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 blah, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I was so scared. Like, I actually rang the church and spoke to a nun, and I had already turned my back on God back then, but I didn't know where to get the answers from. And I actually went to a nun and I told her everything I was seeing, and she was brilliant. Sister Anne, her name was, I'll never forget that. And yeah, and I keep saying, like, I can see this black president, and I can see all these riots in America on fire, and this, that, and it was the start of everything. And it was only when I got my blog, and I started my blog in 2013, that I started saying the cleansing and what I've been seeing for all these years. And it was around about 2016 when I started talking about Hillary Clinton and these children that were coming to me and telling me all this stuff. That's when I became a target for Hillary Clinton and the CIA, because they knew that I was starting to see what they were trying to pull off. Now, I was starting to, except I didn't know that Trump wasn't one of the good guys. I thought he was one of the good guys. But then it turns out, because I said to God after the plane crashes, and I started doing the investigation into the plane crashes after he got in, the plane crashes and the helicopter crash, and he was blaming, it was a DEI pilot and all that kind of bollocks. Just like they tried to say that woman that they shot, that ICE shot, was, trying to run down the ICE agents and all of that. Or you got to blame it on. They even tried to say she was a DEI and all that. So, when I started doing the investigations and saw how evil he was, I couldn't not say anything, but I was embarrassed, and I said to God, I feel humiliated because I risked my life to defend that man. My life was like, I swallowed poison for that man. I was poisoned twice for the man who ends up, he was the reason why I was being poisoned. He was behind me being poisoned. But it's because he couldn't risk me figuring out that he was involved in any of it, because it would have ruined all of their plans, because I had a nice little following on my WordPress and my Twitter and that. And it was growing. and they couldn't risk me developing my skills to the point where I would uncover everything that I've just whistleblowing on, from the Queen to Greenland to Bella to all of it, because it's all connected. It's all one big plot with all the same players, all working for Israel, all with the one common agenda to abolish the monarchy, to have access to the Commonwealth so that they could control the world. And they put Palantir in charge of all of it in Great Britain and America and Israel in order to do it. And I don't think they thought I'd be brave enough to say anything, but at least I'll die with a clear conscience. I was so humiliated when I saw the truth of who he really was, but if I hadn't have seen the truth of who he really was, I wouldn't be a master investigator like I am now. My investigation skills, man, I personally think that I would put any forensic detective to shame. Or any homicide detective. I'm a private eye on a whole different level. I don't think any normal detective would be able to connect the dots that I've connected to reveal the bigger picture of what I've just exposed. And God said to me when I said, like, I feel humiliated because I was defending this man, I was supporting him. And he said, you were the bait. He was my training for my investigation skills. Investigating Donald Trump got me onto investigating Elon Musk, got me into uncovering the whole George Soros connection, the von der Leyen connection, the Zelensky cult, Maduro, Keir Starmer, Palantir, Musk, all of it. The whole agenda came about because I had to investigate Donald Trump, because when I was investigating what happened to me, it led me straight to Lucifer. Proving that Russia and Vladimir Putin were innocent. He's not perfect, he's not a saint, but he's not guilty of half the stuff that he's been accused of. And in fact, most of the crimes and sins that they've committed, they've blamed on him, just like they did the king, because they know with their little cult the importance of their bloodlines. And if the three of us, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, finally connect, that's the end of the New World Order. That's the end of the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, NATO, the EU, America, Israel, like the lot. Gone. They will no longer have any say or control. In Great Britain, I would be, see if I was Prime Minister, or Flumpty Floop, I would be making all the American military leave Great Britain. I'd be retraining the police. I would only have people in my military that were all considered special forces. My military, from my privates right up to my generals and all that, would all be, and admirals and stuff, would all be considered elite forces. Because unlike them, like I keep saying, where they've got big brother watching, big brother's watching you, my big brother would be watching out for you. All those surveillance cameras and all the military defence forces and that would be focused on the waters and the foreign lands, so that the people in these lands would feel safe. There would be no more American military forces or bases in Great Britain. They'd have to leave. there would be no surveillance contracts, no Palantirs, no nothing, no Big Brothers, no surveillance cameras, no facial recognition, nothing, no nothing. Everything would be focused on watching the waters for the boats. Oh God, I get so emotional. It's I'm passionate about justice. I'm passionate about equality and equal rights and humanity and saving the planet and speaking out for the pure and innocent. And the Queen was innocent. She didn't deserve that. Her family don't deserve what they've been put through. They knew exactly what they were doing. They played a very strategic game that they've had in place since World War Two. But they forgot that God was watching this whole time while they've been planning and strategizing. They forgot God was watching. So I was right about everything. The Queen was right about everything. Diana was right about everything. Everyone they've named, everyone they've pointed fingers at, every organisation, every country, every motive, every means, they were 100% right about. And I just keep praying somebody out there has to have enough respect for the King and for the Empire and this great nation enough to be able to go to the King and say, you need to look at what she's saying, because I don't think this is a joke anymore. And the first thing he needs to do is dissolve Parliament and get Keir Starmer and David Lammy and his Minister of Defence arrested, effective immediately, the whole lot of them. Shutting down the Palantir office, investigating the NHS, like the whole lot. But the first thing he needs to do is get hold of Starmer and shut Parliament down. Somebody out there has to go to him. Someone has to believe me who has access to him, because this is not a joke anymore. They're openly admitting what their plan is and what their plan has been this whole time. But because I'm shadow banned, I don't know how far my reach is. So everything's in the description box. As more and more truth is coming out, the harder it is to control my anger at how this has been allowed to go on unnoticed for so long. I can't stand injustice. My brain can't handle it. I'm not the person I used to be. I'm nothing like the woman I used to be. I've shed so many layers now. I'm not even a shell of my former self. My former self is dead. I understand the Christian terminology of being born again, because I was born again. Just not as a Christian, but I was born again into someone that I don't even recognise anymore. There's nothing left of the old me in any way, shape or form. I don't even feel like I'm a part of my own family. It's like it's all dead to me. And I'm someone brand new with the memories of who my bloodline is, if that makes sense. I died and was reborn. And then my fight to get justice for what happened to me so that I can save and protect my two boys ended up leading me down the path to Lucifer, who then was solely responsible. Me investigating Donald Trump, and then, Keir Starmer and all that, but initially Donald Trump ended up being um, what awakened my investigation skills that my father had been teaching me since I was a kid. He was the perfect training for me because he was hiding in plain sight, and in the beginning even I didn't see who he really was, because at that point I didn't know who God was. I turned my back on him, and when I saw that God hadn't turned his back on me and I was exposed to the light of his love, that's when I saw who Donald Trump really was. And it was because of those plane crashes, that plane crash and helicopter crash. When they crashed, because I was seeing things in it, and stuff was coming out about how the the dashboards of the helicopter had been shut down remotely, and I started putting two and two together. It's like it just went pew and opened up this hole. It's like it reawakened my investigation skills, which I had been kind of doing since my connecting the dots. I want to investigate the Black Dahlia murders and Jack the Ripper and all that. That they were like little seeds that I'd planted, waiting. And then Donald Trump did what he did with the crash and that, and then it was just like boom. So, and which then led me to investigating Starmer and Labour and the Queen codes coming through, all of it. And here we are today on my baby's 17th birthday, and I'm not with him because of what they did. I should have been making him. He loves my banana cake with cream. For his birthday, he usually wants either one of my cheesecakes for his birthday cake, or banana cake with whipped cream and chocolate icing in there. And I fuss over him and make him all his favourite food. Same with Gabriel. Um, and I had that taken from me because they thought by removing my sons it would punish me and hurt me and shut me down and silence me. But it just made me all the more determined to hold them all responsible for what they'd put me and my babies through. Every time they try to shut me down, it makes me stronger. It builds me back stronger, because then it makes me more determined to get justice. Whereas if they'd just left me alone to do my thing, I wouldn't be about to tear them all new assholes. They know I'm here to take them all down. They know I'm here to take them all down. And they've been doing everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen. And which is why they've tried to stop me from reaching Vladimir and the King, because they know that once I have those two on my side, that's it. It's over. New world order's gone. They will no longer have control over anyone or anything, because it will all get torn down. Because everybody will see how we did it, and then they'll follow suit with their countries, like France and Germany and America and Canada and all of that. Poland. So, yeah, I'm sorry I cried. It's just like I'm just so angry. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am, because it's like they got away with it. They got away with murdering our queen, a reigning monarch. It's bad enough that they killed innocent civilians out in this world with that pandemic lie, but to actually kill a reigning monarch, what they're all about to go down for, what they're all about to be held responsible for, there is going to be no controversy or scandal in history that will match. what's about to take place because of what I've uncovered. I just need to wake the king up, and then it's all over, and then we can celebrate. Every day I get up and I chip away and I chip away and I chip away at that mountain. I'm moving mountains to get to the king on the other side because it's too big for me to climb. So instead of climbing the mountain, I'm moving it. Isambard Kingdom Brunel style. Right, so I'm going to go. I need to have something to eat. I'm just trying to think what I can have that's going to help ground me. I just had some peanuts, but if anyone out there's listening that genuinely cares about the king, can you please go to him and show him my evidence and say they did it. They really did do it. And you need to have Starmer arrested and you need to shut your parliament down, not just force him to resign. They were all in on it. Tories, Labour, all the people who are loyal to Israel, all the people who are friends of Trump's, they were all in on it. These are the people that need to be removed from the king and no longer have access to the king. He needs to. He needs to put the shutters up and lock his doors and pull his curtains and leave Starmer to be dealt with by the law and the people and just control everything from his phone. Get that person and bring that person to me. Get him arrested, send blah, get the lawyer, get the judge, get the whatever. So I feel sorry for him. My heart hurts for the Queen because she's been trying so desperately. She's not concerned about herself. That the Queen's humour. Well, I'm dead. What can I do about it? Like there's no point me doing. There's no point me worrying about it because I'm dead now. But I can do something about it for my boys. I can do something about it for my empire. I can do something about it for my subjects. So she's fully embracing her position and her ability to speak to another oracle to do something about it. So everybody that helped do this to me also committed high treason. I just, my heart hurts for her. I know what it's like because they did the same thing to me. They tried to do the same thing to me. They tried to kill us and kill our empires off at the same time, except mine was just starting to grow. Mine was just starting to germinate, whereas hers has been established for a long time. And I don't care what anyone says, I know the king because the king is me. We're the exact same star sign, Scorpio rat. And I know deep down inside, when he knows the truth of the level of deep betrayal that his family have suffered at the hands of the people he thought were his friends and allies and all of that, it's going to hurt him real bad. It's going to affect him real bad. And I kind of feel like I need to be the one to be there to say to him, this happened, like, King Charles, this happened because you don't deserve to be down there. You're not on the low levels that they are. You're destined for greater. You're destined to be a saviour. You're from a saviour, Messiah bloodline. And you've got all these people bullying you and lying to you and dictating how you should be running your own empire while they've been strategically planning, covertly planning to tear your empire down behind your back, brick by brick, for so long and so slowly you haven't even noticed. Because that's the whole Fabian Society. They do everything at a snail's pace so that you don't see it coming up behind you. These people are not your friends. The people you can trust are the ones who would go to war to defend you, not destroy you. The people who sacrifice everything for you and not themselves. So, I'm going to go. Everything's in the description box. I just can't believe that he's got no one on his side. Except little old me. So I'm going to go. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō.